Hi, I'm Caleb Giddings from Gun Nuts Media, and today I'm going to step on a landmine. I mean, not actually step on a landmine, but the topic that we're going to start discussing today in the first of 4 videos is one that tends to get people kind of riled up. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the 4 rules of gun safety. For whatever reason, people seem to really like to talk about the 4 rules of gun safety on the internet. So we're going to split this up into 4 videos, each dealing with one of the rules. Today will obviously be Rule 1, and then we'll continue through the rest of the 4 rules. The reason I want to do this is because there seems to be 2 very opposed schools of thought about the 4 rules. There's one that believes that they are dogma. They are hard, written in stone, inviolate rules that shall not ever be broken. And the other school of thought, which I ascribe to, is that they're more like guidelines anyway. And I'll explain my reasoning behind that as we go through these 4 videos. But today, we're going to talk about rule number 1. All guns are always loaded. But are they really? So let's take this for example. If I just happen upon this rifle, which has a magazine in it and is on safe right now, I would reasonably want to assume that this gun is loaded. If I'm following the absolute spirit of rule number 1, all guns are always loaded, I'm not going to do anything with this gun other than point it in a safe direction because I'm assuming it's loaded. However, the way we interpret rule number 1 to follow its spirit is we assume all guns are always loaded until we've personally verified their condition. So I pick up this strange rifle that just happens to be sitting on my desk. I'm going to point it in a safe direction, remove the ammunition feeding device, which is empty, and check the chamber, which, here I'll show you, is also empty. So now I have verified that this gun is unloaded. That means that I can perform certain tasks with it that the gun has to be unloaded for me to perform, like cleaning or dry fire. If you always treat every gun like it's actually loaded, you can't do those things. So that's why the first rule is a guideline. You want to, yes, treat guns like they're loaded, but at a certain point, you also have to accept that, no, this gun really, really isn't loaded. And I know this gun really, really isn't loaded, which means I can dry fire it for training, to get used to the trigger, or to test it, or that sort of thing. The inverse of that is you also want to treat guns like they're loaded when you know they're loaded. So, for example, here's another gun. This gun's in a holster. It has a magazine in it. I think I would be safe to assume that this gun is loaded. So what we're going to do is point it in a safe direction, chamber check it. This gun is loaded. So what I'm going to do now, because this is my carry gun, is put it back in the holster, leaving it pointed in a safe direction, and set it down. That gun is really actually loaded, and I've now verified that that gun is loaded, so I know that when I put my holster on today with my gun in it, my gun's loaded, and I'm not carrying around an unloaded gun. So, what's the point of the first rule? The point of the first rule is to not dogmatically say all guns are always loaded and they're super duper loaded and you should never do anything with a gun that you wouldn't do with a loaded gun. That's dumb. The point of the first rule is to say we want to treat guns like they're loaded until we have verified their condition. That way, accidents don't happen. If I just picked up this rifle and assumed that it was unloaded and started doing dumb stuff, that's how people get shot on accident. How many times have you seen news stories where somebody's been shot with an unloaded gun? That's the point of the first rule, to keep that sort of thing from happening. You personally verify the condition of any firearm you're handed, any firearm that's been outside of your control, any firearm that you pick up. Like if you're wandering through your house and you have a gun sitting out and you're like, when was the last time I handled this gun? Let's go ahead and chamber check it. Feeding device out, chamber check, good to go. That's it. So the first rule is not something that you need to be dogmatic about. You don't have to always assume that everything is always loaded all the time. Because again, you couldn't dry fire. You couldn't test the trigger on your gun. By the way, this Troy GAU5 actually has a really nice trigger on it. Yeah, actually, it's a very good trigger. And I did all that while pointing the gun in a safe direction, which I also knew to be unloaded. So I knew this gun was unloaded. It was not loaded. And that's kind of the point. With the first rule, we have to reach a point where we understand that at some point some guns are unloaded, and it's okay to do certain things with them that you wouldn't do with a loaded gun. Remember, they're more like guidelines anyway. So what do you think? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think you should always treat all guns like they're always super duper loaded? Do you think my dog is awesome and he should be in more videos? If you want to continue supporting our videos, please consider donating to us on Patreon. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. I'm Caleb Giddings. Thanks for watching.